Oh man, Barry Burton, one of the most beloved characters in the Resident Evil franchise. The very character who pioneered the Jill sandwich meme, a man who was misunderstood with his role in Resident Evil 1, and how his role after the Spencer Mansion event has really helped shape the Resident Evil franchise. So in this video, we'll just cover an overall review of Barry, and do a what if scenario of him during the Raccoon City incident in Resident Evil 3, where we take some key notes and points from games, novels, and his subsequent role in Resident Evil Revelations 2. Anyways, before we do get started with the video, I just want to say my name's HeyDeVuH, and I do cover a lot of Resident Evil and The Last of Us content on my channel. So if you guys enjoy that type of content, then please feel free to like and subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and also possibly adding me on Instagram and Twitter, where you can message me there at any time. Alright, so let's go ahead and do a quick summary of Barry's background and his role prior to the events of Resident Evil 3. So Barry was actually part of the US Air Force branch of the military, serving as one of their pilots, where he was also acquainted with Chris Redfield at the time, eventually becoming good friends with him. But after his tenure from the Air Force, he would soon become part of the RPD STARS Alpha Team, a special tactics group of highly efficient individuals who were tasked to do high-level missions, where Chris Redfield would follow Barry and become another member of the STARS Alpha Team. Also, during his time with STARS, Barry became very good friends with Robert Kendo, the same man we saw from the early moments from the classic Resident Evil 2 and the mid-portion of RE2 Remake, where Barry had the job of also being the one who would supply the STARS team their signature weapons. So with the help of Robert Kendo, Barry was able to have a customized firearm that became the signature for the members of the STARS team, which was known as Samurai Edge, with a sleek and darkened design, reminiscent of the samurai's katana. Anyways, with that out of the way, Barry's life would change for himself and his family due to the events of Resident Evil 1, where he would play a major role of conspiring with Albert Wesker, who was found out to be working with the Umbrella Corporation and blackmailing Barry, telling him to do his bidding because if not, his family may pay the price. So with the events of Resident Evil 1, Barry would be a constant factor that drew suspicion from Jill Valentine, unaware that he was a victim himself but had to do whatever Wesker had told him to do just to keep his family safe. Also, during this time in the Spencer Mansion, he was known to have quoted some of our favorite lines, which included the Jill sandwich meme.
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right. Barry, thanks for saving my life.
But by the end of RE1, he would finally turn against Wesker and help out Jill, Chris, and Rebecca escape the Spencer Mansion and return back to Raccoon City and try to let everyone know what's happened during their night at the Arklay Mountains, which is here where we can start to cover some of the diverging storylines from the games, novels, and the other side stories. So I'll cover some key points from the source material and try to make a cohesive storyline that may not be completely canon due to the inconsistencies of the franchise's different versions. So again, once arriving back to Raccoon City, Barry and the rest of the surviving STARS members try to inform the public of what happened during the events of RE1, with a severe backlash happening due to their outlandish story, and Chief Irons disbanding the STARS members due to their gross mishandling of the situation in the Arklay Mountains, saying that it was their fault that the other members didn't survive, and the fire and explosion in the Arklay forest was due to their campsite fire going wild. So with Barry reading the writing on the walls, he decided to get his family out of Raccoon City, with most of the population was employed by Umbrella, and knowing that there could be some repercussions of him being a whistleblower, and harm could happen to his family if he continued his revelation of the Umbrella Corporation and his illegal experimentations and T-virus research. So the decision was made to bring his family to Canada, away from the reaches of the Umbrella Corporation. But before this, he made plans with Chris and the rest of the surviving members of STARS to take down Umbrella after securing his family's safety, which happens by the end of Resident Evil 3, and how he was the one piloting the helicopter that helped Jill escape the destruction of Raccoon City. Anyways, but like I mentioned earlier in the video, I wanted to do a what if scenario of Barry having a large role in Resident Evil 3, because in my latest video, I mentioned that Barry and the other STARS team had their specific roles in the potential RE3 remake. So Barry in this case would have a similar feature, but would tag alongside with Jill Valentine, helping her navigate her way throughout the ruins of Raccoon City, and helping her fight off the menacing pursuer tyrant, Nemesis, which would help Jill out tremendously with his many years of combat experience. Also, Jill would have a trusted partner always having her back, and someone who could help pilot an aircraft if they do find one during their escape. Also, it wouldn't be out of Barry's character to take the lead and be that protective bodyguard for Jill, because Barry in Resident Evil Revelations 2 has shown him to be a father-like figure who goes out of his way to protect the ones who he cares about. So in Jill's case, this would be a large factor, especially after what he's done during Resident Evil 1. Also, his marksman expertise will help fend off Nemesis when he's chasing after them, keeping Jill safe from ever being infected by the T-virus like we saw from the main storyline. Also, their escape could happen a bit earlier since they wouldn't need a signal for someone to come save them, because Barry's expertise as a pilot would help them escape the city earlier than what we saw from the original story, possibly giving them a chance to meet up with Chris Redfield earlier and taking down Umbrella once and for all. Also, this cameo of Barry may happen in a potential Resident Evil 3 remake, because wouldn't it be interesting to see the interactions of the former STARS members during the events of the Raccoon City incident, with Barry being that voice of reason and keeping things in line when things start to get out of hand, especially with Brad Vickers, where he could keep him in check and making sure that he doesn't do anything stupid that could lure Nemesis towards them. Also, Barry's presence during Resident Evil 3 remake may change the overall relation and direction that we saw from the original RE3, because there wouldn't be a need for Jill to team up with Carlos Oliveras, one of the hired Umbrella mercenaries, so he can possibly only have a minor role. But there is one aspect that could be an interesting dynamic in Resident Evil 3 remake that Barry could really help out with, which would be with Nikolai and his shady dealings, because remember, Jill had to encounter Nikolai several times during RE3 and was known to be a traitor and would kill his own comrades if it was deemed necessary. So Barry in this case would be able to help out Jill, because his experience of being someone who was thought to be a traitor would help when dealing with Nikolai, where he could easily sniff out his true objectives and warn Jill of keeping her distance from this Umbrella operative. Anyways, as we move on from Resident Evil 3, we knew Barry had a major role in Resident Evil Revelations 2, so if you guys are interested in me covering Barry in that game, please let me know in the comment section down below. Also, if you guys enjoy the content, then please feel free to like and subscribe, and possibly adding me on Instagram and on Twitter. Anyways, thank you guys for watching my video, and as always, you guys have a great rest of your day, and this is DeVuH, signing out.
Close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right. Barry, thanks for saving my life. But Barry, didn't you say you're going back to the dining room to do some research? Why on earth are you here?